Today I wanted to touch base and just go over a plan for moving forward with everything that we've gone over in the last few weeks. So Kelly, how do you feel and what would you like to get out of today?
Well, I'm feeling a little bit tired. I got in at about 1 o'clock this morning from Melbourne, so I'll get better as the meeting goes on. I'm sure. So, and I think it's important that we keep driving towards our outcome of brand and product, because really that's what we've been focusing on for a while. Is developing a brand, a message, and then having the products to support the brand and the message. Yes. So I think that that's really important, that we really consolidate that and deal with the things that, you know, are getting in the way. Because when you do stuff like this, you know, there's the vision of the future, but there's the reality of today. You know, and we have to make sure that we're dealing with both where we want to be and how we're going to get there, but where we are right now, because we've got to maintain cash flow, increase sales, test the market, and we can't forget that stuff. Otherwise, it's like we go off into la la land. So anyway, so you said I looked at the numbers. In actual fact, they weren't as bad as I thought they would be without you there.
Well, it's interesting, Kelly, because the first week I had to let a staff member go. She was caught stealing, my new staff member.
Oh, is this the Japanese woman?
No, this is the new one, the Kiwi girl. She's only been with me 3 weeks. I caught her stealing the second day she was there. She stole a razor, but she told me that it was in her bag, and I gave her the benefit of the doubt and just asked her not to bring products that we stock in the salon into the salon. And the day after I left, the Japanese girl caught her with the dollar, these one pack of these eye patches worth $1 in her bag. So I had to let her go.
Yeah, well, it's not a basis to run a business, is it?
No.
And she'd only been there a short period of time, so there wasn't a bunch of time into her.
No. So that was the first week. So the second week was, the first week was Mother's Day. So I'm a bit, I don't know if she took anything else, but that week I thought would have been a bit better. The week I think it was 4-6. But you know, it's not too. Last week picked up, so that was quite well. So it was quite well.
Well, and there was a holiday in amongst it too, wasn't it? Yeah. So I mean, it wasn't so bad. So it shows that things are going on. And I mean, the Mums and Bubs Monday was clearly affected by the holiday. So, I mean, I think that that's really important that we push through on that to just see where where we can take that and keep driving that point. So that's our one focus point, and then we're going to have a second focus point on the Wednesday and a third focus point on the Saturday. Are we still moving along those lines?
Yes. So the second focus point for the Wednesday, we're looking at male treatments.
Well, partners treatment.
Well, I thought about it and I did a bit of research, and a lot of people wouldn't come in with their partners. So I was thinking of doing it more of a male Wednesday.
So a male's Wednesday night or something.
Or during the day, like offering, I'm still kind of, I thought about it when I was away in Bali. One of the things in this area, there's a lot of FIFO workers.
A lot of what type of workers?
Fly in, fly out. So
okay. Oh, that'd be perfect.
Yeah, so that's the people that I want to target. Looking at kind of more quick treatments that really target, you know, the grime from working in the mines and things like that. So I was actually going to get Jerry in to take some photos of, you know, us doing treatments and to really market it that way.
And that's a great idea. But do any of his friends work on the mines?
Not in Brisbane, no. But I'm
So
just scouting some other people to see.
So that would be a good thing to, like they fly in and fly out 2 weeks in, 2 weeks off, something like that. So the interest, I mean, I think that's a great idea, because then it would be a matter of how do we target those, and that shouldn't be that hard to target, right? All we need to do is find a couple, and then on we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's. I mean, I tend to agree with you. So I mean, it's a matter of starting with a focus and getting like the same thing, the reputation of that you're trying to build with the mums and bubs. And now when you say even the mums and bubs, like the idea of you interacting with the customer and saying, okay, the mums and bubs that come, you know, would your husband be interested, you know, on a Wednesday or something like that, so that we get the word out. And I think that's very important. So we're gonna drive on the Males Day on Wednesday, and then we should look at it and see how it measures out. Yeah.
Yep.
So when do you think you would start that?
I'm getting Jerry in on the weekend.
Is his eye good enough, or are you gonna have him with the patch? Rugged Jerry.
Yeah, he'll be Pirate Jerry. He didn't find that funny on the plane. I'm going to get him in. We've started just doing a few posts with some, you know, images from social media. But I'll get him in on the weekend, and we'll take some photos of the actual treatment that we want to promote.
And then is it a matter of like you get the photos, you do the Instagram, and then how would you get it out into your community?
Well, what I want to do, Jerry doesn't know this yet, is I wanted to take some footage with him, and then also use some pictures of him when he worked in the mines, and just have a few, like, kind of make a little video, so like a 15-second video. And then we promote that on Facebook, and we promote that on Instagram.
And then you do your post on Instagram.
Yeah. So it's all social media.
Yeah.
Including email. So email, Instagram, and Facebook.
All right. Well, I think that if we start saying by the beginning of June, we start that focus. Yeah. So the thing that we mustn't do, Megan, is we mustn't forget. Like, energy is a very funny thing. You've started to, the mums and bubs thing is just starting to move. And it's not a case now of saying, okay, well, we got mums and bubs moving, because we haven't. We've got it started.
Yep. And
we've got to get it moving. So really what we're doing is we're creating 3 focus points. And so the focus, and I don't think you want more than that, because I think then you bleed, right? And it's really a good opportunity for us in what we're talking about is skin and body, right? Haven Skin and Body.
Is that my internet connection keeps going? I don't know if it's my connection or your connection.
I don't know what it is either, but I keep turning up my volume.
Okay.
Maybe you can turn up your volume.
Okay.
How's that?
That seems a bit better.
Okay. My point to you is that, you know, we're working on many fronts, but, you know, the real message that we're getting across is skin and body. And it's really unisex in its skin and body, right?
Yep.
And it's really important, like, as we head towards the launch of you know, the Haven Skin and Body, that our languages, as we're going through it, our language needs to be congruent with what the message is. And so we can't let it bleed out, if you like.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, even men have skin, and most of them want to think they have a body. You know, I don't know how you go about doing it, but you know, it's got to be, it's like you've got to get into this idea that we've got to care for the skin and the body.
Yeah.
Right. And so it's like at the Haven, we have Wednesdays, and you really start to move towards that branding and then that focus. Now, on the last focus, which is the Saturday, right? Saturday is the shopping day. That's our retail product day, yeah?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And we can kind of launch that. I've noticed that when you ask about Christina and that Steph and Alona's come back, so I'm pretty certain that we can get that moving. But I do think we want to as quickly as we can get the 350 to the 400 masks.
Yep.
And I really do think that we want to do something of a Saturday morning retail thing, where they can come in and buy their masks, and they can do that sort of thing, so that we have this focus. If we get 350, 400 masks, we want to ship those as fast as possible. Right? Because in testing it, we don't want to be saying, oh, well, 350, it's going to take us 3-4 months. No, we want that out the door in you know, if we could do it in a weekend, it gets to our retail Saturday.
Yeah.
Right. Come in when you got a bit of time, come and let's talk about, and we can have face mask retail day, something like that. You understand my point? So again, we get a focus, and each day is an education day around, you know, mom's skin, around male skin, and then finally about masks that we're doing, so that we've got this thing on, but all of it's got to go back to skin and body, right? So, and that would be an interesting thing from the risk perspective of what we bring in and what we test from Taiwan, right? Like you're saying, you want to test the face mask and the neck mask, right? And I don't know if that's applicable to both men and women. But, you know, I'm wondering, like when you really look at the male side of it, I'm wondering about the hands and not the feet. You understand my point?
Yeah. Yeah, definitely.
Because when you start to look at, really, I used to always say to, you know, look at these hands. These are the hands that touch a beautiful woman. But when I did a lot of work like Jerry does, and your hands dry out, you don't want them touching the skin, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And so we can now start to say where the women might be elegant feet, the males might want to have hard yet soft hands.
Yeah, yeah.
And I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's the sort of thing that we would talk about, but I get that it for men, I just don't think they're going to go to the feet. I think they're going to, like, can we get something to soften up their hands? Mm-hmm. Oh, you got a heavy date tonight. Well, let's do your hands.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, definitely. Yes. So
I think we need to look at that too. So when we've got this focus going on, and I really do think it's time, we can see that our numbers are starting to build. Now I think we build our numbers with focus. And I think that we train our staff with focus. We put our message out with focus. I think that we've spoken long enough about the direction that we want to take, right? And now I think it's a matter of focusing on what will give us the result that we want. It's not, and I think that it's got to be meaningful, and it's got to be deliberate, and it's got to be focused. And I don't think, in my mind, we've got enough things, enough irons in the fire that we've got to consolidate. So we've got to consolidate brand, message, and product inside the 3 focus days. Does that make sense to you? Now you've got your normal bleed overs in the other days, like you've got what your business normally would do, like any business that you have, your type of business, that would take on its life between your focuses. Does that make sense? Like you've got your Tuesday, your Thursday, and your Friday to actually have the normal stuff that you would do as a skin and body shop.
Yeah.
Right? Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, so I think that brings us up to where we're at now. Where are we at with the branding? Have you settled on that yet or not?
I'm pretty much settled. I'm just choosing the color. So I'll show you the logo that I came up with.
Okay, good.
With the name.
Are we happy with the name, by the way? We haven't really.
It's all. I'll show you, Kelly. What I did was, I don't know what happened. I didn't secure the name properly. So this is what I've come up with. So instead of being Skin and Body, I've had to go with Co. Because there was a Skin and Body already.
Well, that tells you that tells you that we're okay.
There was an actual Haven Skin and Body. So
was there?
Yeah, but they only registered it recently, so it's a new one, and I can't find any information about it, so it was interesting.
Can we call it the Skin and Body Shop?
I can. I registered it as Skin and Body Co, so I can just change it.
Well, I'm just curious, as now that we're going into retail, and we're going to have that retail side of it as a avenue for profit. If we called it Skin and Body Shop, that brings in the retail.
Okay.
Co, I think that's a convenient. It's not necessarily saying anything, right?
Mm.
And I think if we say, well, come to the Haven, the Skin and Body Shop.
Yeah.
So it's SVS.
Yeah.
Jeez. I don't know. This is what you really wanted, something quite clean, and so this is in the end. You like the color?
Well, I'm just tossing up the color because there's another color that's a little bit more green based. The reason that I went with this, I'll show you what the designer came back with. So
well, this is clean. This is clean. I'm okay with this. You've always been saying you want to be clean, and where I sit with it, the most important thing is you're happy with it. I can give you things backwards and forwards, but I just want something that, like what you're saying, is clean. I actually like this, and it stands out.
Well, so, I thought a lot about, I've been thinking a lot about what you said with the sparkle. And when I was in Bali, I had to look at a lot of places, like a lot of logos. And I just thought, one thing I saw over there that they do is they have a very clean logo, and then they bring the sparkle in through their marketing and through their linen and through, things like that.
Yeah.
Which I thought that I could do. And the other thing is, I'll show you the other logo the designer did, just so I can explain.
Okay, no worries. But I think this one pops at you.
Yeah, so do I.
So I think it's. I don't like the CO. I guess I've been polite about it, but.
That's all right. Can you see that?
Yeah.
That was the designer came back.
Ugh.
After I gave him that one that I did, I made the one that I did on like a $2 app. So, but I like the fact that I can use the logo, just the writing in the blue color.
Yeah.
If I don't want to use it in the circle.
Okay. Well, and I think what's important to us is we already know that it's going to go in packaging.
Yep, and I think that'll work really well on packaging.
Yeah, I'm with you that it's. I'm with you that it's simple and clean, and it's, you know, again, the font that you're happy with that font.
It's probably the best font that I could find. I like having the two different fonts. Do you not like that font?
No, I do like it. I thought that you were having trouble with the A, but I actually like the A. So
yeah, I think it looks nice that way. It's like, I think it's very simple and it's not overpowering.
yeah. Okay, the dashes at either end and the dot. I don't like the dot. That's why I'm saying go to shop, not .co. I mean, what do the other ones look like when just the skin and body needed a domain, right? It needed, where is it at? Like, is it a shop? Is it a parlor? Is it a salon?
Yeah.
And that's something that you'll come to terms with. But I do think there's a distraction when it's .co.
Okay.
Or .co dot. Okay, the ones that you've got 3 dots instead of the line.
That one.
Yeah. You know what 3 dots means?
No idea.
Infinite. So you can have 1 dot and it's the end of a sentence, but in math, if you have 3 dots, it's saying it's forever.
Yeah, I didn't actually see the dots, in all honesty, until you just pointed that out. All right, leave that with me. I'm going to send it back this morning and get it updated, and then but I'm happy with the.
Oh yeah, look, you know, quite apart from the fact that, you know, we're looking at everyone's got the dots now. It's not that original. And that's the issue that as you and I started to develop it, I started seeing it everywhere. So if you're going to have something that's you see everywhere, the question is it going to be a trend, or is it something that's going to stick? Well, we both know that this will stick. You know, this is not a trend. This is not so much a trendy one as just a very simple statement, right?
Yeah.
I think those other ones with the dots going around it are absolutely hideous. And you know, the one where the heaven extends out, it looks like a burger joint.
We said it looks like like a burger place or a cafe or.
Oh.
I like the dots there.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit bigger. Maybe instead of 4.
Well, then you can do something with them.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Move it into the branding and have that as the sparkle.
Yes. Yeah. And like if you look at it, when you go ... it's like, even when you check on your grammar, if you go dot or you go double dot, it'll show that there's an error. But if you go 3 dots, it won't show as an error because it's mathematical. And the way he's done it, he's got the 3 dots there. I actually like the green. I like the green and the white. So I think as your second, like, you can have your primary brand, and then you're saying, okay, because of juice and because of some of the stuff that we're doing, we might want a color green, and so we can incorporate the fonts in the manual as the way that we hold it. So, excuse me. I think if what you're doing there, if you look at that and you say as a secondary, when we put it in the branding manual and we have the PMF for it, if we're getting packaging made, then I think it's important that we do that, because it's now important that we start tying it off and saying, okay, we're this, because when we talk to Christine and when we talk to Alona in the packaging, we've got to be able to state the PMS. You know, we're going to have to check and see whether there's a international PMS or whether there's, but we need to know that our colors, when we say it, we get what we want. The same thing with the font, because you're working over distance. That's the reason why it's important to get this right in the beginning. You know, and people say, oh, well, it doesn't matter. Well, if you get stuck with a bunch of packaging that you don't want, it matters. Right? So I tend to go with you. I don't like, for me, I don't like the CO dot. And you might get away with it without, you might be able to get away with it, skin and body, more central dot, 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 versus the way it looks now. And, you know, in actual fact, you can have the Haven Skin and Body Co. trading as the Haven Skin and Body Shop. So you don't really need to do that much around the protection of it. And I think that, you know, what did you do around the URLs and stuff like that?
With the URLs, I got the THSB.
THSB. I actually like that THSB. So you got that .com.au?
Yes, .com.au, and I have all the social media ones for that link, for those links.
Okay, so that we're on task on that.
Yeah, so I'm wondering if I change this to the Haven Skin and Body Shop trading as, if I can't change the code.
Yeah, no, it's really what you're doing is when you buy the company, they can't stop you from using the name in other states. Now, whether you do or you don't, it's depends on how you go. It depends on how hard you drive it. But I'd like to be protected. It's not that I want somebody else to not use it. I just don't want to be stopped from using it.
Yep.
Right. It's really that simple. And the fact that somebody else has the Haven Skin and Body doesn't bother me in the least. I just don't want them to stop us using it.
Yep. And that's why I haven't trademarked it yet. I was just waiting to do the logo and then I'll trademark.
Well, you trademark the logo, and then it's like, if somebody else has got the name, who cares?
Yeah.
Because it's very specific to the logo, and that's why it's really quite important. And you know that you can do the trademark yourself, yeah?
No.
Yeah.
That I can do it?
Yeah, you can do it. You can just get the forms, and it's not.
I read that to trademark the Haven Skin and Body Shop and then the actual logo to do both.
Yeah.
Is that correct?
Well, again, if you own the company name, it's protected by the company name, you know. And then if you protect the logo, the real reason why you're doing it is you don't want to be stopped you using it. I have no time for this idea. Oh, I've got this great idea and it's my idea and I should, nobody should have it. I don't buy that. What I buy is, don't stop me from where I'm invested my money. You've got a lot of time and energy invested in this, and I don't want somebody to say you can't do that.
Yep.
You understand my point? So I think we do our best to protect us without spending oodles and oodles of money at this stage. We don't need to do that. We're just not in that market. We're the only focus we have right now is not being stopped doing what we're doing. I mean, do I really care if somebody else comes and says, "Oh, you can't use it"? And so, hang on, it's our company name and it's our trademark,
Yep.
and it's been both trademarked and it has a company name, so they can't stop you. You know, as far as I'm concerned, that's what's important.
Yep. All right.
Okay, now these other ones, the other ones down the bottom, the Haven Skin and Body. The font is nowhere near as nice as the one you've chosen.
No.
And I don't like the broken circle. You know, down the very bottom one where it's got the skin and body with the one next to it.
That one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They all pale compared to the one you chose, I think.
Yeah, I was actually surprised that he's chosen the font, this font, because I don't like it. And I did say to him that I wasn't a fan of either font. So.
To be honest with you, I haven't seen anything that stands out other than what you point out.
I know.
You know, so, and this guy's an award winner, is he?
Well, he was really good the last time that I used him, but this time he's been really quite disappointing. Considering I did this one, the other logo on it was like a $2 app. So, but I'll send that off and get that updated this morning, and then.
Yeah, I mean, Megan, how do you feel? You know, you got the body shop, but the reason why you want to do that is because if you're going to go into having your own brand and some of your own products that you make, and if we can make that viable, then shop connotates purchase. And I think that's why you do it. And so when we've got our, you know, our shopping Saturday, our retail Saturday, it sort of fits in that. And I guess it'll fit in. It's like Skin and Body what? Okay, well, it's a Skin and Body shop. If you want to know anything about your skin and body, if any parts of your skin and body, we're going to research.
Yeah.
Right. And that's what Christine has opened for us. It's not just about your face anymore, is it?
Exactly.
So I think that positions you well, personally.
I'm happy with that, Kelly.
All right, so let's decide to focus on that, and I can actually see that in that glass in your shop.
Yes.
I don't know about the gray wall, but you know that's something that you'll have to look at. But changing a wall is pretty simple.
Yeah.
You know, I think Jerry and his mates could do that in a couple hours, couldn't they?
Kelly, I can paint. My dad was a painter.
Oh, well, bring your dad in and let him paint it.
I'm a better painter than Jerry.
Well, I got a house ready.
Not that keen.
All right, so we're on that.
Yep.
And then the only thing that we need to do is make sure it has trademark on it, trademark in a circle. So once you agree on it, let's make sure that we see where the trademark sits.
Yes.
And it'll be like trademark pending is what we're really saying.
Yeah.
So let's just make sure we have that mark on it and make sure that it's done and we're protected. So that's good. All right, so there's that. So we're ticking the boxes as we go here, right?
Yeah. Yes. I'm trying to because I've been watching our videos back that we have gone over in the last few months, and I'm very cautious of every time I talk to you, I say yep. I'm very cautious of saying yes, because it's funny how you pick up on things, especially how you speak when you get to a chance to rewatch yourself.
Well, but the important thing about it, Megan, is the only reason why we video them is so that you can do that and you can remind yourself, because there's nothing more powerful than your eyes and your ears. right? And so as we go through this and we're incrementing, you can see that even though we're talking about the same stuff, we're becoming more aware and more conscious of what we really want.
Yes.
And I think that that's the reason why you have, I call them custodial notes,
Yes.
so that you can go back, and it's a lot better than writing notes because it's there and away you go. So there's that.
Yes.
Okay, so what else did we need to discuss today?
So the other, just double checking. The other things that I looked at, Kelly, were the masks.
Yeah.
Remember I sent you that video before I went away to Bali about the face mask. It was a salon that was offering a treatment with the mask.
I actually don't remember that, and I haven't seen it. Can you resend it so I do make a point of looking at it?
Yes, I'll resend. What I did was I looked in the area to who was offering the treatments, and it was a little at-home salon. So I found the actual skincare company that's selling the masks.
Yeah.
So they're selling. Let me just go. How do I say? They're actually selling 5 of the masks. So this is their packaging.
Yeah.
They're retailing that for $79.90. Now this is coming through an actual skincare company. So they also specialize in professional and retail products for salons.
And that's a pack of 5, is it?
That's a pack of 5. So
Is it like a treatment? Or is it just 5 masks?
Everybody's selling it as 5 masks. So nobody's selling it as a treatment or a, I like to kind of look at it as in more of a facial in a box, like you're in between your kind of treatments in the salon. Lund Vitalite, they're one of the most popular ones on the market, and that's what we stock at the moment in the professional room. They classified their masks as professional facial treatments, 5 masks per box, and they're very plain, but they.
What do they cost you?
This one costs me wholesale $24 for 5 masks. Retail they sell, I think it's $44 or $45, so it's 100%.
Yeah, and of course when we do it, I guess Telstra is unstable today because we're breaking up a bit there. When we sell it, don't forget we want to have a multiplier greater than 2.
Yep.
And the reason why we want the multiplier greater than 2 is we actually want to be able to go to other salons and do it from not just from a professional point of view, but from a profit point of view. And it has to have both qualities. It has to be professional, and then it has to be, tick all the boxes of having the stuff in it. But it also has to be profitable from anyone that buys and profitable from you, because you got another tier in there, right? Because we're never going to get to the volume that we need from a single shop.
Yeah. Yes.
And opening more shops is a very expensive proposition. Not that you won't, but you've got to stage it. But in between that stage, we can still be selling the product, the Haven product, right? And make it so that, even if we had a salesperson on the road just going around selling that product, so that we can get the cost of the product low enough and the margin high enough that you can do that, and you can expand out, and then you can spread the name without having to go to the expense of another building or another location. You want the other location, but you want to make sure when you have that location, you reduce your expenses.
Yes.
All right. So if the $79 one, do you think that would have? I doubt whether that would have the multiplier of 2, because it would follow the same pattern that the various companies that you guys have been dealing with. There seems to be that in the industry that's what the acceptable norm is. 40 to 50% discount, and you're making all of this money because you only paid this and you sold it for that, but they forget about all the costs and the expenses between. So whatever we're doing, we got to make sure. So, and does it have the ingredients that are in those boxes?
Yes, it does, Kelly.
And will it fit with what we're doing? Because essentially that's what they're saying out of Taiwan, isn't it? Tell us the ingredients and we'll mix it for you.
Yeah.
And so it's got the ingredients, and does it have the levels of the ingredients in the box or not? No, just this is in the box.
Yeah, just basic ingredients.
Okay. Well, I don't suppose we can expect everyone to do all the work. Although I do.
Did you have any of the masks left?
I've got everything. Do you need them?
Well, I would like to, because with test.
Well, I'm not going to do much with them.
Well, I might come pick them up, because there are a few that I'd just like to go back over. The email that I sent Christine, I've pretty much chosen 2 masks.
Yeah.
That I think will work. And one of them is the one that she recommended. On the weekend just gone, I actually took the masks and tested them on all my friends.
And what happened?
It was really good feedback, because I tested different sheets, so different masks with different fabrics. The one that came back was the lipo mask, or is it the lipo? The one that I sent via the email, I'm pretty sure it's the lipo mask.
Okay.
They said that they were really, really nice, really hydrating, very similar to the ones that they've used in the past. There are a few that they said the sheets were too big, like they really just stretched. They were more the paper-based masks with the tencel base.
Okay, good.
They weren't over the top with the packaging. They weren't fussed on the packaging.
From which point of view?
They actually said that this one they liked the shine, but it was harder to read. But I mean, a lot of it's in Chinese, I think.
Yeah, well, we realize we're going to have to change all of that as part of what Ilona does. But on that, when I'm referring to the packaging, I'm actually not referring to the labeling.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you're looking at it, from your perspective, was the packaging, did it work?
I think so. I think that there were the masks that had the sheeting attached were easier to use. The girls felt that it was easier for them to open and apply themselves, where there were some that had, one of them didn't have sheeting attached, and they found it really difficult to kind of pull apart and apply.
Okay, so you've got notes on all of that?
Sorry?
You have notes? Did you take notes?
Yes.
Okay, and so when we get to pinpointing exactly what we want, we'll be able to specify that, right?
Yeah. Yes, Kelly.
Yeah, so the answer to, no, yeah, yes. Shouldn't have told me.
I don't even know, I don't normally say yup.
Okay, so
yes.
with that, yes, I have all of that, and what I'd like to do is just say to Liv, choose 1 or 2 and do it now, but the rest are going. Mm-hmm. So I'll make sure that happens. And then, are you okay with? I mean, they were always intended to go to you anyway. So, I mean, I have no requirement for them at this stage. I might come and test the men's evening or whatever. But I think that's really very, very important that we get that side moving. So If you want, I'm just trying to think. You can either pick them up when you're across town, or I'll get them across to you.
I'm happy to pick up. I'm actually out at Forest Lake this afternoon. If,
No problem.
is that okay for me to drop by?
Sure.
Perfect.
You know my address?
I have no idea. I think you're at are you at Mount Omni or Jindalee?
Mount Omni, yeah. We're very, very easy to find. So we're 3 Bedwell, Bedwell, Bedwell Place, Mount Omni. And so when you'll take, do you come down the freeway?
I'll be coming from Forest Lake, so I'll pick Byron up and then come back through.
So when you come back through, I'm thinking you'll get on the freeway when you come back through. Yes. Okay, you get off at Mount Omni, right? And you go down past the shopping center.
Yes.
And there's a set of lights.
Yes.
You turn right into the drive, and you'll go up and you'll get on to, I think that's Arrowbri. And then you turn left into Mount Omni and right into Bedwell. It's really quite easy. And we're really, the house on the corner is the first Bedwell, but we're really the first house that you'll see in Bedwell. We're just down the hill a bit.
Perfect.
And
So I'll be out probably just between 3 and 4. Is that okay?
whatever time you get here, we're always here.
Perfect. Thank you.
No worries. And in the meantime, Heather's here, so I'll get her to pick what her and Lou would use, and then the rest can go to you guys.
Perfect. Sounds good.
All right. So we've got those notes. And what we really want to do, because now we're coming into the packaging of it, we're going to need to speak and get the English right on them, and get the packaging and what's put on those. We'll have to put in the language on it, the way the language is laid out. So we don't want any Chinese on it, right? And that's pretty obvious. And we just want to really make it so that whatever's written on the back of that, one, it's simple. Let me have a look at it. I don't know why it's in. I've just kept it in my roller bag. Yes. Okay. We really want to make sure that as we do this, okay. Thigh lipomask, eh? So
I've got the brightening bikini line mask.
but when you look at it, the way they've got the illustrations 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, that's something that you'd want, right? Pictures.
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, and then we'd have like all the top stuff, obviously in English. It should be pretty easy. Ah, you know what they've done? I didn't notice that before.
They've got English, Chinese.
No, it's not that. The bag is actually separate from the actual, it's just a label.
Yeah.
That's kind of interesting, isn't it? I didn't notice that before. So that means that, you know, this bag, this packaging is generic, and then it's branded. So what that company would do, that's interesting. So they'd already have a lot of these gray bags. They'd already have those, and then it's a matter of they would print that label. So it'd be quite easy to do that. Would be quite inexpensive. So we just have the labels.
Mhm.
So I mean the bag, that's quite different from. These ones here, because they actually print on the packaging on these ones.
Yes. And all the ones that I've tested that have been off the market, on the market currently, they're all printed. So.
But my point to you is that it would be quite easy to set it, like when I'm talking about the packaging, I'm talking about, you know, the way the package opens, right, and the way the package feels. Now we label it.
Yep. Yes.
And our job is going to be to label it in such a way that it's easy for you or me to read. You know, you don't want to be a Philadelphian lawyer to read it. It wants to be simple. And the feedback that you're getting from your friends is really quite important. You know, because really that's who we really want. And we've got, and you can see it's got the cautions on it. It's got the lot number expires. So we got to think about the expiry dates on it. We got to ask those questions. You know, storage. But this one doesn't necessarily, it doesn't do the same that this one does around the pictures. I think that this should be a feature. Like when you look at the ones that you've got there, do they have the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5? Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, they all yes, they all have them. And I think that was actually something funny that my girlfriends picked up on too. They were laughing about that. So they thought that that was kind of funny that they had the little faces and that they had the application steps.
Yeah, well, I think that application tips would be great. I don't know. What do you think?
I think they can be done a lot better, but I think they need to be on it.
But you know what I think would be important is that, you know, when you sell them in the packages of 5, I don't think that encourages people to use them. I just think, oh, there's a package of 5, and you might use it as you move along. But I think if you say, here's a beauty treatment, you know, and you say at the beginning of the week you do this, and then on Wednesday you do this, and you make it so that they have to follow a process.
Mm-hmm.
What does that do?
It gives them steps and it gives them instructions on how to use them.
Yeah, you're such a polite thing. It forces the idea that they're going to use them. If they're all the same, it will be, oh, I'll do it tonight, and then, oh, I don't have this urgency to use it, right? It's like I've had these things sitting here for quite a while now, and Liv's had no urgency to use it. But I can tell you right now, if there's a treatment, and she thought she had to do it on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I promise you that she would do it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, because she'd be so worried that it didn't do what it was supposed to do. You understand my point? So I think that you can have the one-off mask, right? The in-between mask, or you can have the treatments.
Yeah,
and be interesting to see which ones sell. The $79 for 5 masks. Yeah, yeah. So the connection's not good. Yeah.
No, I just lost you just then.
Yes. This. I'm Telstra. Are you Telstra?
Optus.
Uh,
I
so
like, I
you're
like
pointing the finger at me now, right?
Telstra. I actually like that idea, Kelly. And with you saying that you can actually, it's quite easy to brand this because it is a label. I was just thinking then, one of the things that I do with the clients is I like to have them back every 4 weeks. That's our skin clients. So that's something that we kind of teach them, come in once a month for your facial. I'm wondering if these can, if there was a box amount, if it could be numbered 1 to 4 and it's used once every week in between your facial visits.
Yes, and make it at a price that's very affordable. And it's like, really, your facial should be done every day, right?
Yeah. Yes.
And so you can say, practically, you're not going to do it every day. But from the perspective of, can we do it? Can we have a weekly program so that you can, my mate my good friend that ran the Tony Robbins, he was telling me, he was saying to me, a person stood up in the audience and asked a question of Robbins, and he said, Tony, I've been doing your program for 6 weeks, and I'm not noticing much change. What do you think the problem is? What do you think Tony said?
The problem's him, the person.
No, he said you were a slob for 10 years. You figure you figure it's 6 weeks it's going to make that change. You've got to keep going.
Yeah.
Right. He said it's like 6 weeks embedding what you want. It's the same thing though. It's exactly what I'm saying to you about, I mean, the thing that we review and we're very repetitive about is what we want to do. And you're repetitive because you want to ingrain it. It's called conditioning. And so what you want to do is exactly the same thing with skin and body. You want to condition the way somebody thinks about it, right? And there's more and more education coming online around, taking care of your skin, taking care of, fundamentally the biggest organ on your body, is your skin. It's like, and there's so many different things that you need to do, like your hands, your feet, and your face. It's not just about beauty. It's about, treatment of keeping you young over long periods of time. The new thing is about, you're going to live till you're 80 or 90 or 100. What do you want to look like when you're 80, 90 or 100? Do you want what's your skin going to look like? What, your outward glow, what's that going to be? And I think that we need to take a position on the Haven Skin and Body. We need to take that position from the word go, that we're really about the maintenance and the well-being of skin. And everything that we do, that's going to be the message. And it doesn't matter whether it's male, female, young or old, there's still a condition that has to go on. Does that make sense? And coming every 6 weeks ain't going to do it. Coming every 6 weeks is not going to do it. And that's the point we make. And we say, well, obviously we know that to maintain this is very expensive if you're coming into the shop. But what we also know is you've got to do it.
Yes.
Right? As my daughter always says to me, Dad, looking beautiful is hard work. And I just say to her, radio, looking beautiful is hard work.
And expensive, Kelly.
Wow, yeah, it's expensive. Actually, if you get here after 4, she'll be home, so I'll introduce you to her and you can let her on.
Kelly, before we move on from the masks, the ones that I'm interested in really are these ones.
Yes. Yeah, I got a whole, those are all the ones I have here.
Yeah, they're the main ones that I'm interested in. I did try all these ones, but they weren't as active for me. So
Well, and you can see by the packaging, the packaging and the weight of the packaging, you get a sense. It's like my friends at Success Resources say it's all about the package. If you're going to compare the package and they're both $5, which one are you going to buy?
exactly.
So, and that's part of the illusion, if you like. So, anyway,
Perfect.
we'll make sure they're all ready for you to go. I feel better about it because I don't want them really sitting here doing nothing. That's not the purpose of what we brought them here for. So I'm very happy to do that.
Thank you.
Okay, so we're on to that now. When are we going to talk to Christina and start moving towards getting the product? And have you spoken to Juice? And is there anything that I need to support you with Juice?
I'm just getting back to Juice today, so I was going to arrange a conversation either tomorrow or Friday.
Would you like me to be on, just listening in the background?
Yep, that would be good. I went over our last conversation before I went to Bali, where we spoke about everything for me to talk to Juice about, and I would probably like you to be there. I think because I'm not 100% confident with. I'm confident, but not 100% with the kind of negotiating the contract kind of side.
Well, the good thing about it, Megan, is I can be a devil and it won't matter. And I don't mean an impolite devil. I just mean I can ask questions, and sooner or later you can say, well, ultimately it's my decision. And I'm always good about that. I'm always good about the idea that you got to push something, and sometimes you have to ask unpleasant questions. But you don't want to be the person asking those questions because you're the primary relationship, right? And what I think is very important is that you have somebody that will ask those questions, but ultimately it's you that makes the decision. And I understand that very clearly. It's like I take no offense by, to me it's commercial and it's got to be asked. And it may not be something that they're used to, and it may not be something that you're used to, but years and years of experience, I know that you've got to ask questions that people won't ask. I just don't accept what people say all the time. I don't accept, oh, well, that's the way we do it. Well, it's because that's the way you do it. Doesn't mean that's the way we want to do it. Would you consider this? And that's how we phrase it. Would you consider this? And in the end, it's going to be right up to them to hold their standards while we hold our standards. And the same thing will apply, in my mind, the thing that you always, always, always have to remember, profit is made when you buy. You should write that down. Because no matter what, no matter in any business transaction, it's not when you sell. Because when you sell, the sell is determined by what you pay for it. And so your margin, the reason why I didn't like your Dermalogica was because you buy too high. And there's nothing, you're always having to scrape them. They've got their margin guaranteed, and your margin is not. And our job is to make sure your margin is guaranteed. And that's why I wanted to move us one line closer to the manufacturer. No matter how we do it, we want to get there because we don't want to be beholden to somebody that controls the margin. We want to control the margin. And you want to make it so, I mean, even if it's something that you do, even if you say, well, I want to go to all these different salons and I want to say to them, or all these different shops, or whatever the hell we're going to call them, all these different places, and I want to promote this idea that all of us should be making money, not just being in the business because we care about it, but we want to be in the business to make the money. and you want to be able to say to somebody, you know, depending on your volume, we can change your margins.
Lost you, Kelly.
Okay, so uh, maybe what we'll do is we'll curtail this conversation and have more conversations. The thing with Juice is I would like to be there, and I'd like to be there just to listen as to what's going on. And the real point is, if you increase your volumes, you actually want to reduce your expense, right? It's not, in my mind, it's not one size fits all. If we say we have a startup package and then we have a maintenance package, they're two different things. A startup package should be less expensive than buying bits and bobs. You understand my point? And then in the startup package, we really want to know what they're going to offer, because you're taking a risk. It's like they're saying, oh, they're taking a risk with you, like hell they are. You know, the bottom line of it is you're at risk. And we want to mitigate that risk by having the best buys that we can have. All right, so if you let me know what day it is, I'm happy to set up a Zoom for you. I'm also happy to do it on a mobile or however you want to do it. But if we do it on Zoom, I'll record it so that you can review it. I just think that's a reliable way of doing something.
I think it's for me, it's a good learning base. I find that when I go back over it, I pick up other things that I kind of missed during our conversation.
Yeah, we do go wide and broad. I've been accused of that a few times. But anyway, okay, so we'll do that. We'll do Juice. What about Christina? You want me to get on to Alona and set up something ASAP? I think that it's really, you have to be very clear. Taiwanese want to be told. They don't want to. They don't want to be asking you. They want to be told.
I think I went over, when I was overseas, I went back through the video conferences that we did. And that's why I just want to pick up those masks from you so then I can say these are the two. Because I'm a lot clearer now on what I think they're recommending and also what's selling in Australia.
Right. If we get 350, 400 masks, we want them sold with a real good margin in under a month.
Yes.
Because if we can't do that, it's not so much us saying something to them, it's us understanding the market.
Yes.
Right, and it's understanding exactly what has to happen. It's a very good test. Mm-hmm. And then all of a sudden you say, well, if they go in a month, then you can start negotiating out your deal. I should turn that thing off. I always forget it's here. It's very important for us to really look at that and know from a product's point of view, you want to be shifting these things out. Like I think that ultimately we'd want to be looking at what 3 months would be. Mm-hmm. Right? So if we got 350, 400 masks, you don't want to be taking 3 months to sell those. You want to have those out. If we can get those out the door in 2 weeks, all the better. And then getting people, it's just a matter of knowing what we need to do. That's, you know why we've got these focuses now. Clearly, we'd want to see if we could sell a couple hundred masks on the Saturday. Mm-hmm. Right? And we got to get them priced, positioned. We're very, very close on the branding. Now what we need to do is get the labeling. Right? And we can work on that. And I think that what we talked about today was the faces and everything else, and then the material and the cautioning. And I think we have to have two. We have the one-off mask. You can buy one to try, and then the treatment. What do you think?
I think definitely having the individual and then the packet.
Yeah. Well, because now you're doing price points.
Yes.
You know, you can sell one mask for maybe $15, and you can sell 5 masks for $45, $50, something like that, so that you get the volumes of money. But if there's not the volumes of money, you make sure that you get your money in. But some people might say, well, I can only afford $20. No problem. Let's get you started. Does that make sense? So I'll get on to Alona straight away and get that moving.
Yes. Can we do possibly Alona on Friday
Yeah, I'll check and
if they're free? Only that way I won't have Byron and I can
okay. I'll do those and then you'll set up the other one, yeah?
sorry?
You'll set up the other one? You'll set up the juice?
Yes.
Okay. Most days, anytime after 11 o'clock, you can get me. I put out fires until 11, and then after 11, I'm fine.
Perfect.
All right. So like, yeah, every day the fires start early, and then during the end of the day, you can breathe.
Yes. I know that feeling.
All right. Is there anything else pressing?
No, Kelly, that's all. Thank you.
Okay. How's Jerry?
He's good. He's good. I think he's a bit, are we still recording? I think he's a bit overwhelmed. I've got 2 phone calls this afternoon to talk to people about Zero. I had a chat to Jerry when we were away about.
You want me to stop recording?
He's busy. Yes.
Okay, well, just hang on a second and I'll. Okay,